My name is Wade Sutton. I go to the Bond Park ward and sort of share my story of finding a better job class. I hadn't been without a job longer than a month since I graduated college. So I'd heard about, when I lost my job, I'd heard about this class, but I thought I could find a job on my own, and had some interviews early, but it had been a while. I had been on LinkedIn and many other sites, paid to have my resume redone by a site, and it just seemed no matter how many resumes I sent out, I wasn't getting any returns or any callbacks. So someone from my ward had mentioned the Find a Better Job class, and they had just ended. Actually, this was several times. It seemed like it was just ending. I was like, no, I think I can still find a job on my own, so I didn't really consider it. But probably 8 months later, when I'm without a job still, again, someone from my ward recommended I reach out to the state representative, which I did, and the class was full and just ended, so I thought I'd have to wait several months for the next one, but I got a call one evening and was told they were going to do this pilot class where it was 2 mornings for 3 hours. So I went, I said I would do it, and I went there and learned a lot of good skills. Learned about the power statements, learned about, got help with my resume of how to emphasize certain things. And I have a unique background as accounting and HR, so I actually had 2 separate resumes, one for controller roles I was applying for, and one for a director or VP of HR roles. So I spent a lot of time, tweaking those resumes. Again, though, going through LinkedIn and other sites, it really just wasn't working for me. I wasn't getting anything. And one of the things in the class, that was emphasized was connections and your network. And that 85% of jobs now come from connections and your network. And that ended up being true for me. One thing that stuck out to me in the class, which I had already done, is I said, wherever you're at, if it comes up in conversation, be ready to have a small thing ready to go about, if you're looking for a job, this is what you do, and this is what you're looking for. And I'd happened to be at a wedding of all places, and talking to a friend of mine, saying, hey, I'm looking for an HR role, and he said, we might have something available. And it was months later, I got a call from this guy, and he said, I think we need to do something different in the HR department. We're not gonna, they had a contractor and they had decided not to make her full-time. So I interviewed with him and some other people, and they offered me the job. And at the same time, it had been about a year since I had worked full-time. And it's just strange how that works, is within a week I got a job offer to do HR from this friend of mine that I knew, and I got another job offer to do a controller role through another connection of mine. And so, just seeing how important it is to be ready to talk about that wherever you're at, with friends that you may never think would have something for you, really end up landing me in this job. So yeah, I recommend anyone to take this class. I know for myself, I got to a point where I felt pretty discouraged. I felt I had good skills. I felt I had good, work knowledge. I had been doing it for 20 years, and it was very frustrating, and I couldn't understand why I wasn't getting callbacks. And when I did, they just didn't go anywhere. And so, not only being able to take the class and learn things to focus on, but really just gives you more tools to put in your belt. But also the support. The class leaders we had were Bob Henderson and Bill McDonald, and not only just being in the class, but afterwards they would call me, ask me how I was going. Again, they took time to look at my resume, help me fix it. But it went from being me alone doing it, to having support and people there. And that really helped encourage me and just keep at it until I finally found a job.